In this video, we are going to be demonstrating
some techniques that are used in the 3-chemical reaction lab for Chemistry 101. We're going to be demonstrating procedures that are used toward the end of the experiment. We're going to look at how to decant, and then we're going to look at how to do suction filtration. Decanting is used so that we can pour off a large quantity of liquid very quickly. Suction filtration is used to isolate solids very quickly. We want the solid on top and we want the filtrate in the bottom. We want to do it quickly, so we will use a vacuum. The safety issues associated with this are handling liquids of any kind. In particular, these liquids will be hot and they will have reagents in them. You'll need to have gloves on. You may want to use beaker tongs if you find that the glassware is too hot to handle. The equipment that we need to do a suction filtration includes a ring stand and clamp. We also need a filter flask, also called a sidearm flask. You're going to need to take that and clamp it into the ring stand. Next, we're going to need a rubber adapter. This is to make sure we get good suction as we pull the vacuum on our sample. The rubber adapter goes into the filter flask. The third piece we need is the Buchner funnel. The Buchner funnel goes on top of the rubber adapter. We also need to choose a piece of filter paper that will be the appropriate size. You're looking for a piece of filter paper that will fit flat in the bottom. It should not buckle up onto the sides of the funnel. Before you begin this experiment, you need to weigh the filter paper so that you'll have that weight later to subtract at the end of the experiment. At this point, you'll also have your beakers with your copper oxide. You'll need a clean beaker with a glass stirring rod. You'll need beaker tongs in case the glassware is too hot to handle with gloved hands. Finally, you'll need to have some hot water ready to rinse your solid and a hot plate to heat it and a wash bottle to rinse the solid. This is your copper oxide solution. The copper oxide has settled to the bottom, so it's ready to decant. We also have our clean beaker and a glass stirring rod ready for decanting. Decanting is used to quickly pour off the supernatant liquid, leaving us with just the solid that we can quickly suction filter later. So to pour off the supernatant liquid, the first thing you need to do is remove the boiling stick. And then you're going to pick up the beaker and slowly pour the liquid down the stirring rod into the other clean beaker, trying to leave all of the solid behind.
But what happens if I accidentally spill some of the liquid?
If it's just the liquid that spills, that's okay. You will need to clean up that spill with gloves on, of course. As long as you don't spill the solid, your experiment will be fine. You're going to collect the solid in a second step after the liquid is transferred. To decant, you're going to slowly pour down the stirring rod, using the stirring rod to prevent splashing and to keep any solid in the beaker. So go ahead and pour down the stirring rod. And you want to pour as much liquid as you can without transferring any solid. And when you get to the end, there'll be a small amount of liquid left. That's okay. We're going to suction filter this later. To remove the remaining liquid and isolate our solid, we're going to do suction filtration now. First, we're going to set up the rest of our apparatus by connecting our rubber tubing to the sidearm and to the aspirator. This is a water aspirator. When you turn the water on, water will flow down, creating suction on the side. You need to attach the rubber tubing to the side to create suction in your filter flask. We're now going to wet the filter paper completely so that the filter paper is well stuck to the Buchner funnel. Excellent. Now that we have our vacuum on, we're ready to transfer our solid to the Buchner funnel. To do that, you're going to want to swirl the beaker to suspend the solid. You need to push down on the Buchner funnel to make sure you have a good seal, and then you're going to be pouring the solid into the Buchner funnel. So the more you swirl, the more solid you'll get transferred in the first pass. You do want to pour slowly and smoothly so that you don't spill, however. The last step will be to rinse the remaining solid from the sides of the beaker using deionized water. Rinse them into the Buchner funnel.
Does it matter if there's any solid left inside the beaker?
You'll always lose a little bit stuck to the sides of the beaker, but you'd like to get all that you can over within a reasonable amount of time. If you leave too much behind, that will affect your percent recovery or your percent yield. Finally, to make sure our solid is free of any chemical residue, you're going to rinse with a small amount of hot water. Remember, the vacuum should still be on at this point. At this point, you're done with the procedure, but the solid is still wet, so we can't weigh it today. You'll need to first break the vacuum by disconnecting the tube, and then you're going to take the Buchner funnel and place it in a beaker and put it in your locker until the following lab period. At that point, you can weigh the dry solid and obtain a yield.